first horse we ever bought was Maghera, and that really came from my brother, my late brother Peter, who was desperately keen for us to get involved in it, and it just so happened our first horse ended up being 2-year-old of the year, and I think going back she won close on $200,000, and that started a relationship with the Yarnleys, and purchasing the horse just started my love for harness racing and later on Karen's. An opportunity came up where Sandy wanted to retire. 4 sons, and he said, 4 sons don't go into 200 acres, would you be keen on buying it? So we ended up buying it. What really challenged me was the breeding side of it.
I was just about to say that. You love that side.
And I love the side of it, and I've studied it, and I've read numerous books on it, and we've bred some wonderful horses.
Better twist, what a champion she is! She'll get the diamond!
I think probably where we really changed and got the right direction was when we started to invest in other families. But I saw an opportunity where I could see that the trotting gate was going to grow in this part of the world. We invested heavily. Our first horse, she's a doozy. I think that was the highest price ever paid for a trotter in this country.
But as they run down with 100 to go, put the circle around, she's a doozy. Beautifully driven by Mark Purdon. What
I loved about her was that she actually came from an American family. That's where my love affair for the game started. We've spent a lot of money putting back into the industry. Look, I don't care what anyone says. Look, you've got to have the right mares on the farm, and I've always had an adage, and we have done it over a number of years, brought top mares off the racetrack, and again had new families on there, because what you're trying to produce doesn't appeal to everyone. So we've gone quite wide with our families. And it's just been interesting. Your clientele has grown with it.
A party on. Here's a real quality one. Only 2 starts and give her a diamond. Party. The unbeaten Willow is flying. What a training effort this. Freshened up since a heat at Forbury Park into the Group 1 Alabar Sires Stakes Champs final and shoot.
With our mares, we go to the best stallions that we can afford and what we think best suits the mares. And it's been great, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And we've done the same in the trotting. To a lot of people, they thought we went out left field, but we really were big on the likes of Muscle Hill. Saw him as the greatest trotting stallion in the world. Cost us a fortune, but we put our best mares to it, and the results we saw on the track.
Tickle me pink ahead, Tricky Rick, still tickle me pink, yep, tickle me pink.
But it's all Kai Valley Hotspur, and Kai Valley Hotspur wins the Trotters' Derby.
We won Breeder of the Year this year, and our success is our staff. Without question, you've got to have the right staff. I'd say you've got to have the right mares. I tell you something, there's something different about the Waikato grass. I think all of those things are very important.
There's nothing better than seeing your horses on the racetrack and ones you've bred or own. For example, we're at Cambridge the other night, the Flying Mile. We had 2 that we owned in the Flying Mile and 1 that we bred. And I was talking to Gareth Hughes, the trainer of Hot and Treacherous, and he said to me, "Oh, you've got 2 horses in tonight, Karen." And I said, "No, we've actually got 3 because, we bred Hot and Treacherous." And although we don't own him, we bred him and he feels like family. And it was so exciting having him there and win, even though you don't own them.
We've been fortunate, like we've bred a number of Group 1 winners.
I can do it storming home down the outside. I can do it going out after the ball, right over the top. The Interdom Champ's done it in the Row Cup. What a win!
Ellie Mack extends 120 to go, and look at her come through the gears. Ellie Mack, 4 Group 1s at Alexandra Park, and she powers away. Montana Gloria Benayoun drives hard. Mark Purdon gets another jewel in the sulky. Breckon colours to the fore again.
Oh, he's a superstar, a champion pacer. King of Swing wins his 2nd. Delray National Hunter Carpenter defeats Spirit of...
They do become part of your life. I think for both Karen and I, the challenge is just the next great horse. We've got about 200 horses. Some of them Karen may not know. She's taking them off and I'm putting them on, so that number varies a wee bit, depending on where we are in the season. So that's possibly the biggest horse walker in New Zealand. It's about 100 metres around, takes 12 horses at a time. So we bring all the yearlings in, getting close to sales time, we bring them in there for fitness, and it's fantastic. For health and safety, it takes a lot of risk away, from the staff getting injured, with particularly colts that are getting fairly boisterous. This is the vision of the stables. We're about to build 48 new boxes and then a further 10 up the top. We're contemplating putting in a viewing room, so we'll have 2 stables side by side, parallel, and in between we'll have a room upstairs, which we're hoping to put in maybe a movie theatre in there. So even outside of harness racing, we see upstairs, for conferences. This is the biggest plan we've had in years. We've planted in excess of 1,000 natives. It's brought a lot of wildlife. We won a biodiversity award some 7 years ago. We worked very closely with the Waipa District Council. This was about contouring the land. I was also keen to put in a couple of ponds there, and in fact they head back towards the bush behind me. So this is the entrance to Yarnley's bush. So this is Kaikatea. So this is what traditionally is known in New Zealand as white pine. Back in the day, these trees were cut down and milled for butter boxes, was mainly where it went into. So this is obviously shipping butter back to the British Isles. So, and if it wasn't used for that, it was primarily used for boat building. You will not believe how much this flexes. Unlike, say, a kauri forest or anything that doesn't move, this is amazing in here. And you can then understand why they used it for the likes of boat building. It's very special. When you consider Kaikatea's been around since, the dinosaur days, probably the closest I get with T-Rex chasing me around is Karen. But anyway, there we go. With Karen's vision of getting tourists in here, the idea of bringing in some of the past champions. Hopefully there's a lot more from Breckon Farms that we can show the people the horses and the different things in the Yarnley's bush on the farm. We think we have a lot to offer here.